And a lot of the stuff that Fringe deals with is stuff that I loved growing up as a kid, and Alex and Bob did as well. Things like, obviously Altered States and David Cronenberg movies and X-Files and Twilight Zone, and things that were just sort of the stuff that, as a kid, made me want to be a writer and a director. And so this is really about saying, what are the things that we love, and how do we sort of do a show that lets us play with those kind of toys? Okay.
One of the central, for people who have seen the pilot, and if you haven't seen the pilot, you should just walk out right now because we're going to have a few spoilers in here, but, well, don't walk out. Massive dynamics. Is it brought to us in part by the Bush administration? How evil is this corporation?
Well, do you remember years ago, and you might not, and I'm sure that some of you do, I hope, but years ago there were these commercials, just you'd see like a typical commercial at the very end, and it could be anything. It could be a soda, it could be a cleaning product, it could be anything. And at the very end they say, Beatrice. And you're like, who the hell's Beatrice? Like, what's that? And it was like that weird thing where you suddenly realized that one company sort of owned all these things, and I'm sure there was a reason that they were suddenly coming out of the closet and saying, hey, we're Beatrice. But it was this really weird thing. I just remember feeling like that idea, like when you see like those commercials for GE when you're watching Sunday morning, news shows, and like GE does everything. Like they make the light that's in the airplane, they make the plane, they make the engine, the milk you're drinking, it's there. Like everything is like GE, and I just think that Massive Dynamic feels like one of those companies. The show doesn't do the kind of corporate conspiracy thing that in the same way that you might expect from the pilot, but it plays a big part in the story ultimately.
And who says they're bad?
That's right.
They might be actually working on something that might save the world. We don't know.
And GE, they bring good things to life.
They bring good things to life.
All right, I want to move on to some of the actors. Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
You tell me away. It's been a while since you've graced the small screen with your presence. Tell me about your decision to come back and sort of how it all came together. And why you decided to come back.
Well, the decision to come back was mostly based on the pilot script, which read as an incredibly dense 2 hours of time. Actually, read as an incredibly dense movie, frankly. And then the process was, I hadn't wanted after 5 years. I wasn't really anxious to come back and get back into the television world, so it was the thing itself that drew me back in. And then meeting with these guys, with Alex and Bob and our director at the time, Alex Graves, and they just sort of sucked me in, and then 2.5 months of begging and pleading later, it was my job.
And for the producers, what about Joshua? Did you made him right for this role?
I feel like I should go into the cone of silence for this answer.
Well, in fairness, the role was originally called Pacey, and we thought, who could play this? And Josh was available. No. Honestly, the thing about Josh is that, and it's funny, we got a lot of the same kind of comments when we did Lost, and Matthew Fox was there, like, oh, the guy from Party of Five, and it's like, yeah, but he's all grown up. And what's great about having Josh is that he's obviously a very smart guy, and when he brings the role, every actor brings some kind of baggage, and what I think Josh brings is incredible, wit and just a great skill, and he's a total pro, and so we were just thrilled that it worked out.
Anna and John, both of you, if I'm correct, and correct me if I'm wrong, hail from Australia, correct?
Yeah!
Any bonding over that so far? Is that...
Any bonding over being from
Australia? So I'm just wondering if there are a lot of Australian actors and British actors are playing roles now in United States series. Is there now like a school now for how to be an American actor or actress? Like, is that all about?
Yes. I think there might be.
No. I mean, it's fantastic that we're both working in the same.
They can't tell you because you're not Australian. You got to be in the club to learn the secret handshake.
All right, I promise I won't ask any Lord of the Rings questions then. Where would you suggest people go for to find out the truth about what's going on Fringe? Which of these sites are real?
The Bush administration.
What?
I think the Bush administration, if you want to find out the truth about what's going on Fringe.
Beatrice. GE, what's the...
Friends.com, Infowars.com.
Yeah, here's the thing. Bob is insane. He's the conspiracy theorist of the group, and so this could be a really funny tangent. I have no idea where it's going to go, but Bob is literally like, almost every time we get together for a writing session, and even last year when we were at Comic-Con, you know, we were working on the pilot script, and every day there's at least one unbelievable conspiracy thing, and by the time you're done, you totally believe what Bob's saying. It's amazing. So Bob knows where to go for. After this is over, you should just talk to Bob, because he'll take you anywhere you want to go.
Okay. This is a question I think a lot. Some people have been debating on the internet. The pilot for Fringe was available for downloading even before it was here at Comic-Con. Some people insist, speaking of conspiracy theories, that that was on purpose. Would you want to address that?
Well, no, it was
definitely not on purpose.
This is a show, I mean, I've already seen on some of the Fringe sites, of which there are many already, spoilers for episode 3. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it sort of probably pisses you off that people are already getting your plot lines out there. On the other hand, it's kind of cool that people care enough that they're already digging up the truth.
Well, if it were a movie, obviously it would be a disaster that it got out. And but the fact that it's a show, at least the good news is it's all about spreading the word and people feeling familiar with it. And hopefully, when people see it, want to come back and you'll see the next episode. But the truth is that you know, if the episode that went out wasn't finished, it didn't have the final cut. There was just, you know, some scenes missing. There were things that we reshot. The visual effects weren't done. The music wasn't there. So we would not have sent out something that was so far away, you know, in some ways from what we wanted people to see. But we're thrilled that, you know, the response so far has been as positive as it has, and I think that the stories that actually continue, that follow the pilot, I think actually are better and stronger in terms of, you know, focusing it. The pilot had a lot of. It was burdened by kind of what it had to do in a way, and I feel like now the episodes are about the characters in the situations that we originally got excited about, as opposed to setting it up in the premise pilot.
So do you want to give us any hint about some of those possible?
No.
And I do think it's possible that JJ did leak the pilot. I don't know. I really don't know.
You see what I'm saying? Bob is just...
It's possible.
Nothing's ever...
I've been at Comic-Con since Thursday, and I've seen no non-humans allowed banners everywhere. I went to the websites on them, and it's very obviously a viral marketing campaign. Do you know what that is, or have anything to do with it?
What's your name again?
Eden.
Eden? Eden? Yeah. Can we have Eden removed? Could someone remove Eden? No, I have no idea. Eden, I don't know what you're talking about, but Bob does.
Bob, we'll talk after.
Do you guys feel that feedback from the internet is helpful to the creative process, or is it just a waste of time?
I think that the feedback from the internet is not only valuable, it's necessary, because we're in a bubble. You know, and by the time an episode airs, we're a few episodes ahead, and we are doing it from the inside out, and we're trying to please ourselves and entertain ourselves, but it's impossible to know how it's playing because we're not experiencing it for the first time. So we have found that, dating back to Alias, that the feedback from the internet is incredibly valuable. We have found that there's things in our stories, threads that we've set up that we weren't aware of, that then bore a lot of fruit as we went forward, that our fans have made us aware of.